down.
Awesome job, guys. Airbnb refugees. Next up, we have Sensoree. So let's give it up for David and Juan.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is David Karim, and this is my partner Juan Perez, and we are the creators behind the web application Sensoree, an application to integrate Internet of Things devices such as Raspberry Pis to sensors.
Okay, basically our web application is a method to take this particular device right here, the size of a card, and connect it to sensors to go ahead and give you information to the user. And in our particular case was we had a problem. Personally, I had a problem. So let me take a survey. How many of you have or have had a teenager in the house? Not enough people. How many of you were teenagers once? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And how many of you have done something like this? Every parent's worst nightmare. Well, now with our software, our web app, we will be able to become every teenager's nightmare. So here we have a screenshot of our web app where we connected a Raspberry Pi to an ultrasound sensor and a camera. So at night, when the shenanigans starts happening, we will get an alert. And in that event, a picture will be taken. So no more will you need to be worried about spending hundreds of dollars on a security system to prevent the kids from going out, but also people coming in. Okay. So here's a dramatization of what my worst nightmare is. They're going out, maybe coming back with a guy with a mohawk or something like that. Not what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to hand it off to David to go over the user experience and integration.
So here we're going to actually watch Juan try to resolve his problem, right? So he's going to actually log into the application. One of the challenges that we had was actually integrating the Raspberry Pi into the web application itself, but we're going to make it real easy for Juan to actually get this done. He's going to actually sign in, and the first thing that he's going to see when he signs in is an API key, so that the web application can actually recognize him. So once he takes note of his API key, we can see him now going and creating a new sensor. In this part of the app, he can actually specify the type of sensor. He can set thresholds to know when to actually trigger events. And he can actually also put his phone number so he can get SMS and MMS notifications. After he goes to the web app, he can actually go into the Raspberry Pi device, which is a Linux-based device. He can download one of our scripts, Python scripts, which are already pre-populated with most of the information. The only thing that he needs to put in is the API key and the sensor ID. So you can see that once Juan does that on the Raspberry Pi, you can see a screenshot in black of the Raspberry Pi itself. He will actually execute that script, and you can see it actually taking measurements of an ultrasound sensor connected to the Raspberry Pi. Then you can actually see the response from the web application in the form of JSON, which is basically parsed text, which can be interpreted by another device or another computer. And we are actually also simulating somebody coming close to the ultrasound sensor and triggering the device, and we can confirm that the web application also sends out the notifications, and Juan will be able to actually see him on his iPhone. In this case, we can see that in the iPhone, he actually gets a text message notification with the type of sensor, the name of the sensor, the parameter that set it off, and also a picture captured with a camera actually connected to the Raspberry Pi device.
So here I am putting the finishing touches on my security system to not only prevent people from coming in, but going out. And here they are, coming in the morning, after whatever shenanigans they have. What's going on here? Now they're caught, and I have the data to prove it.
So The technologies that we use behind the scenes to make this application work were the Raspberry Pi, obviously, and we implemented the code behind the Raspberry Pi using Python. Rails is the main engine of the application, but we also integrated with Twilio for the messaging portion of the application, as well as Amazon Web Services to actually receive and store the images, as well as GitHub for collaboration and Materialize for the styling.
Some of the other applications that are already in progress, you can connect it to other Internet of Things devices such as Arduino. You can also use that as an aid for computer science education for K through 12 to get people interested in computer science at an early age. And also weather station. We didn't stop at an ultrasound sensor and a camera. We were also able to attach a thermostat, a humidity sensor, and a barometer. So there are many applications and many sensors that you can add to this for a very, very low cost.
My name is David Karim, and I have a background in telecom engineering, and I'm looking for a position as a DevOps engineer working on Internet of Things devices or infrastructure as code.
And my name is Juan Perez. I was a former teacher with a master's in education. Currently, I'm a master of crushing teenage shenanigans. And I'm looking to work with a company that's willing to help me become a master full stack developer. Thank you.
I want to know if you curtailed any shenanigans.
Not anymore.
So there's a lot of integration challenges doing this, right? What was your biggest integration challenge of all this, and how did you solve it?
So initially, we were attempting to get the Python to actually send us the appropriate parameters in the format that we expected. So at first, we actually did a lot of debugging, a lot of breakpoints. We got very familiar with breakpoints and actually going in and inspecting the parameters as we were receiving them to make sure that or the arguments, so to make sure that the Ruby part of the application actually was receiving all the information as we were expecting it.
And another instance that we had as far as user experience is concerned, we were able to get an account set up where you can only see your information. And the part where we had trouble with was when somebody registered, they would have to log in again. And that took us a couple hours to figure out when it was just one line of code. So registration directly to your account.
So the API code that you were using was good, I'm assuming, for your API. The key to basically pass in the data, is that per device or simply per account?
So the API key is actually generated internally by our model once the user registers, and we're basically generating a 20-digit random number that is assigned on a per user basis once the user registers so that we can actually identify that user.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's the Python that you're actually using that actually sends the data to your application?
Yes.
So the Rails application is really just the compiler of data and reporting more or less?
Right, and sending the text messaging notification and presenting the findings to the user.
Did you take into consideration any exceptions or error handling in your code?
Well, it's difficult to say because we didn't have any errors. We're perfect with that. But when we did have an error, we would have some type of Ruby code to help us solve that problem. Not to get too much into jargon.
Let's say the cat moves in.
Say again? Oh, if the cat leaves the house?
Like exceptions.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Well, we could set the sensor to detect a certain distance. So it would have to be like through a doorway. We could set it up really high to where if the cat goes really low, there wouldn't be a problem.
So if you're referring to exceptions in the code of the Ruby event, we actually did have situations where when we were getting erroneous information, or we were getting correct information, but we were misinterpreting it, we did actually have to implement that. I'm sure that there are still times when we're going to get information from the Raspberry Pi because the user has control of that code, and they can basically send us whatever different format where exceptions might occur. I think we caught most of them on the Rails and the Ruby side of it, but I'm sure there's still plenty of troubleshooting to catch all the extra numbers. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you guys. Next up.